It was once believed that compass needles pointed either to the pole star or to an island at the North Pole known as Rupes Nigra, the Black Rock. Electromagnetism plays a huge role on the show, and there are frequent references to compasses and the direction north. As Richard says to Locke, "It points north, John." The presence of a ship called the Black Rock is a critical clue to the island's location. From the legend of the Black Rock. In the midst of the four countries is a whirlpool, into which there empty these four indrawing seas which divide the north, and the water rushes around and descends into the earth just as if one were pouring it through a filter funnel. It is 4 degrees wide on every side of the pole, that is to say 8 degrees altogether, except that right under the pole there lies a bare rock in the midst of the sea. The axis Mundi is often described as the place where the 4 compass directions meet. Likewise, we have this reference to 4 indrawing seas. Lost connections include the Connect 4 game and the Talking Head CD case art that Juliet holds in A Tale of Two Cities. The whirlpool mentioned above is also a clue. On Lost, Miles Strom was named to sound like Maelstrom. There is a great tradition of myths that were used to explain the fact that the pole star seems stationary, like the hub of a wheel, while all the other stars circled around it. Ancient people saw the star as the axis around which turned a great millstone. There are stories of 2 giantesses who turned the mill, which was put on a ship that eventually sank to the bottom of the sea, creating a giant whirlpool. These myths may represent the change from one pole star to another, sometimes described as a new king replacing the old one. From Hamlet's Mill. In particular, the book reconstructs a myth of a heavenly mill which rotates around the celestial pole and grinds out the world's salt and soil, and is associated with the maelstrom. The millstone falling off its frame represents the passing of one age's pole star, symbolized by a ruler or king of some sort, and its restoration and the overthrow of the old king of authority and the empowering of the new one, the establishment of a new order of the age, a new star moving into the position of the pole star. We know that the island is constantly moving, and that its future locations in space and time can be calculated with a high degree of accuracy. Likewise, the pole star is also always moving, so slowly that it appears stationary to the naked eye. This appearance has given rise to the idea that the pole star is a constant, and is therefore an important star in navigation. At the same time, the northern star, Polaris, as a pulsating star, is also a variable. Cepheid variables pulsate, and their regular variations in brightness make them important tools in astronomy for measuring distance. Because the pole star moves over thousands of years, the star we call the northern pole star changes. Here are some interesting parallels with Lost. The pole star during the ancient Egyptian period was Thuban, in the constellation Draco. The goddess Terroret was depicted as the largest figure in the Dendera zodiac. She represented the circumpolar region of the sky. She was both a dangerous demon and a protectress, being the guardian of the northern sky and preventing those who were unworthy from entering. Her lost counterpart would be Mother. During Roman times, no single star was close enough to the pole to serve as the pole star, so there were twin pole stars, Kochab and Perkat, in the constellation Polaris. To this day, they are called guardians of the pole, as they circle Polaris throughout the night. Their lost counterparts are Jacob and the Man in Black, who were born during the Roman period and are twins. Our current pole star is Polaris in Ursa Minor. We have previously seen a connection between Polaris and the Black Rock. Also note that the island now has polar bears, which would be symbolic of Ursa Minor and Ursa Major. The concept of magnetism and the polarity is also important to our story. Polaris also has a connection to the Virgin Mary. One of her titles is Stella Maris, the Star of the Sea, in her role as protectress of sailors. When the Black Rock smashes into the Terroret statue and destroys it, we have a perfect visual for the change from the previous pole star to the next. Interestingly, the next pole star will be Alpha Cephei, in the constellation Cepheus, which depicts a seated king. Hugo Reyes becomes the new guardian of the island, and his last name means kings. In the episode Exposé, we are given some important clues about the island's location. The TV show is set in St. Paul, Minnesota, the North Star State. Nikki, as the character Corvette, the pride of St. Paul, dances around the pole in a faux diamond bikini. If you've ever heard Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, you know that stars are like diamonds in the sky. These diamonds circle the pole just as the stars in the night sky circle the pole star. Both Minnesota and stars seem to reoccur on the show. Henry Gale was from Minnesota, not from Kansas, surprisingly, and Hurley mentions the Hold Steady, a band with Minnesota connections. Ben is also called the artist formerly known as Henry Gale, a reference to a famous Minnesotan prince. Billy D. Williams's appearance in Exposé is the icing on the cake. One could write a book about all the Star Wars references on the show. They are not just there because the showrunners are fanboys. The entire show is celestial-based. Another recurring theme on the show is Catch a Falling Star. This song is closely connected with Claire and Aaron, who I believe represent the mythological figures of Callisto and Arcus, respectively. Why is this important? Because Callisto and Arcus are transformed into bears and placed in the sky as Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. Zeus, through trickery, impregnates Callisto. She has a son named Arcus, whom from the region of Arcadia in Greece is named. Hera angrily turns Callisto into a bear. Years later, after Arcus has been raised by shepherds, yeah, that's a whole thing too, Callisto sees her son in the woods and runs to embrace him. He's about to kill her with an arrow when Zeus turns him into a bear as well, and places them both in the sky. Note the following. The Native American legend of Fallen Star tells of a young woman who marries a star and is taken to the star world. She is warned not to dig up a certain giant turnip. Of course, she does it anyway, and it reveals a hole in the sky. She looks down and is homesick for her people. In trying to climb down, she falls with her son. They look like falling stars. She dies, and the son, falling star, survives and becomes a hero. This is the source of the nickname Turnip Head for Aaron. The resulting hole may be in the Big Dipper. Charlie makes a baby Bjorn for Aaron. The word Bjorn is not Dutch for baby carrier, it's Swedish for bear. Claire's substitute baby is made from animal bones and fur. Yup, it's a baby bear. The book Wish Upon a Star is among her things in her den. The fact that Claire rhymes with bear, and that Claire's nails seem particularly claw-like when she digs them into her own hands and scratches Danielle with them, is interesting. The name Littleton means little town. This may be a reference to the Star of Bethlehem. Speculation over that star has included the possibility that it's the pole star. Claire's mother's name is Carol, as in Christmas Carol. We are twice shown a reverse Big Dipper in the sky, minus one star, in White Rabbit and Special. Could this be a reference to the hole in the sky, the fallen star? Note that all the stars in the Big Dipper are closer to Earth than Polaris. If you were standing on Polaris and looking back towards Earth, the Big Dipper would appear reversed. It's been pointed out by 5Stades that by plotting the numbers on the 42 spaces on a Connect 4 board, starting by dropping pieces to fill each column from left to right, the numbers form a reverse Big Dipper. Of course, to someone on the opposite side of the board, the Big Dipper would be facing the correct way. In the episode The Beginning of the End, we get 3 separate references to the letters H-O. Hurley sees Charlie's ghost in the convenience store by the Ho-Hos. At Santa Rosa, a toy behind Hurley spells out H-O. Hurley and Jack play horse, but they only get as far as H-O. Numerically, the letters H and O are the 8th and 15th letters of the alphabet. Was the flight number 815 an indication that the plane's destination was the North Pole, where Santa says ho ho ho? Hurley wears a red t-shirt in the island scenes, and a white trimmed red robe at Santa Rosa. Santa Rosa. Now we know what's at the terrestrial North Pole, but if we just look up, we'll see the celestial North Pole. Looking up is a recurring theme when characters are searching for something. We've seen it with Charlie's guitar, Henry Gale's balloon, the Nigerian priest, Naomi bleeding in a tree, the Beechcraft, and the meteorite that destroyed Mr. Klux. The writers are telling us, look up. Finally, on the subject of stars, remember that Pierre Chang is an astrophysicist. He reads a story to baby Miles called Me and My Polar Bear. The blurb visible on the back of the book is from an actual children's book, and the bear's name is Polar Star. The name Pierre is French for Peter and means rock. The word Chang in Tibetan means northern. The original meaning in Old Chinese was constant. My conclusions are: the island and presumably the world enter a new age by the end of the show, ruled by Hurley. The island was located under the celestial pole. Since the first manipulation of the light, it now moves with time.